Welcome to the Mental Health Militia News, where I am your host, Chabol, here with his co host, Mr. Munster. Thank you, Mr. Munster. Today in the news, we have a doozy, but before we get into that, I must mention a disclaimer. Yes, a news station that comes with a warning. Why? Because we care that the information we provide you might be fire, but it turns out that it is me and Mr. Monster gathering it, producing it, writing it, and delivering it. So please listen with some discretion and use this for educational purposes only. Moving on from the fire to yes, as we are still sitting in the great media war of 2021, we noticed that a couple of news stations have been running the Durham investigation, but are going to try and mislead you from the proper investigation and what is going on. Moving on from the great media war of 2021 to, yes, as we're starting to understand who Chabot is, he kind of was running out of steam and was like, I can't go on anymore. But he thinks he did a sufficient enough job tonight to build a good enough report to deliver. Moving on from the news to yes, the opening quote. We are all tired, but are carrying on by strength. John E. L. Robertson. Moving on from the news to yes, the opening story. What we learned from Michael Sussman's response to the Spygate special counsel. The media has finally begun covering the special counsel's investigation and indictment against former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman and is none too happy. Yes, Mike is not happy at all, so let's find out what happens when he gets himself in some handcuffs and in a federal penitentiary. Moving on from the news to yes, now that the Russian collusion has been proven a lie, when do the trials for treason begin? Well, we see Michael Sussman right there, but I want to see the rest of these people. I want to see their trials. Moving on from the news to yes, checkered past of FBI cyber contractor who spied on DJT. We see that long before FBI messed up. Long before FBI computer and contractor of Clinton operator Robert L. Jaffe, who comes big into play later on in the story, allegedly trolled internet traffic for dirt on President DJT. He mined direct marketing contact list for the names and addresses of unwriting Americans to target in a potential scam involving a grandfather clock. Yes, what we see here is a man that knows how to defraud automatically. So he's just a scam artist. Moving on from the news to, yes, the sick world news with your MHM news. And that Trudeau, man, he is sick. Straight communist. Moving on to, yes, put out by Tokenist.com. Big banks in Canada face outage day after emergency declared. 5 major Canadian banks were hit by an hours long outage on Wednesday, convincing some that the bank run might be occurring. Yes, what we're seeing is that a whole bunch of people are going to probably be running to the bank, taking out all their funds and putting it in precious metals or maybe even cryptocurrency. Let's see and find out how this one plays out. Moving on from the news to yes, welcome to America, bitches, with your MHM news. To here comes $7 gas prices, warns oil strategist in dire outlook. Drivers best start bracing for another surge in gas prices amid the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and years under investment by the oil industry, warns one veteran energy strategist. My guess is that you are going to see $5 a gallon at any triple digit oil prices as soon as they get to $100, and might even be $6.50 or $7. Forget about $150 a gallon. I don't know where or when, and blah blah blah. Either way, what's going to happen is these people are defrauding us dollar by dollar, as we have our own oil reserves and pipelines, but somehow are getting oil from elsewhere. Moving on from the news to yes, you shut your mouth, we'll bomb who we want. It's war propaganda. Moving on to yes, now Secretary Blinken lays out possible manufactured pretext Russia could pursue ahead of military action. False accusations against Ukraine's government, fake terrorist bombing inside Russia, discovery of a fake mass grave, fake or real attack of chemical weapons. Wow, she's talking like they have this written out or like it's planned or something. Gee golly, I think it is. Moving on from the news to yes, iron out racial propaganda. Here at the no intolerance section. I used to have a better way to say that. Moving on from the news to yes, revealed Clinton world takeover of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter filings reveal prominent Democratic lawyer Mark Ellis and another longtime ally of former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton have been on key roles in the charity amid scrutiny over the leadership and finances. Yes, what you see here is that this lady is going to have a black superpower underneath her, and she's going to be able to rule them just like the puppeteers that they have been. Moving on from the news, or rule them like the puppets, but she's the puppeteer, blah blah blah. Moving on to yes, political sports section here with your MHM news. Mr. Munza already knows why is there politics in sports, because they fixed. Moving on from the news to yes, NFL hires former U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch for its defense against fired Dolphins coach Brian Flores' racial discrimination lawsuit that claims league is run like a plantation. I can't believe somebody really just said that. Did you hear that, Mr. Munster? Yeah, they said like a plantation. I don't have anything else for that stupidity. Moving on from the news to yes, you've reached the funny money section of your MHM news. To yes, FBI to form digital currency unit. Justice Department taps new crypto czar. Yes, February 17th, the U.S. Justice Department has tapped a seasoned computer crimes prosecutor to lead its new national cryptocurrency enforcement team, and announced on Thursday that the FBI is launching a unit. Yes, what we're seeing here is the FBI and the United States government knows they will not be able to stop cryptocurrency. So with all this FUD that is going around, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it is only trying to scare you away from the cryptocurrency, keeping your money in Tether or the US dollar, thus having inflation affected. Moving on from the news to yes, mass atrocity crimes preventing future outrages, here with your MHM news. To yes, top House Republicans, we are going after FBI and Clinton for spying on DJT based on explosive Durham memo. House Intel Committee member Mike Rogers appeared on Fox News to address the Durham findings that the Clinton campaign's lawyer Michael Sussman had paid a tech firm to effectively spy on DJT campaign, and while DJP was in the White House. Yes, what we're seeing here is this whole thing unfolding, and the repercussions of the spy. Moving on from the news to yes, you've reached the Rona section of your MHM news. To put out by Jackie Taylor. 1. FDI documents admit Rona PCR was developed without isolated samples for test collaboration, effectively admitting it's testing something else. 2. A document just released by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration openly admits that the infamous PCR for the Wuhan Rona was developed not with actual samples, but rather with what appears to be genetic material from a common cold virus. 3. In the FDA document, it is stated that originally seasonal flu genetic material was used as the testing marker in the PCR test kits because the authorities knew that many people would test positive, for thus allowing them to use these results to create the Rona narrative. 4. It is somewhat of a lengthy read, but have a look for yourself and see the 1217, the dissipation in plain sight. Deception. There is no legitimate test out there that actually identifies the presence of SARS-CoV-2. Moving on to 5. From the document, since the qualified virus isolates of the 219 nCoV were available, the CDC use at the time the test was developed and the study conducted with analysts designed for detection of the 2091920 blah blah blah. RNA test tested the stocks of into vitro transcribed full length RNA and gene bank accession known as. Okay, so either way, they were testing for something else other than the Rona. It was the common cold. If not, they were trying to trap your human DNA cells. That's what I believed when I got rid of reading it through my head. So we'll speed it to number 8. The time it is upon us to decide if we are going to allow this type of medical fascism to persist and impact upon the futures of our children, or if we are finally going to say no to the tyrannical government policy. Moving on from the me slaughtering this poor scientist's tweet to yes, fraud, scams, and lies could target you, so protect yourself, people. Definitely protect yourself better than me. Moving on from the news to yes, updated Louisville Community Bail Fund says it posted bail for accused shooter Quantez Brown. The Louisville Community Bail Fund, a group co-founded by Black Lives Matter Louisville organization Chanel Helm, posted bail for Quantez Brown, who is accused of trying to shoot Democratic mayoral candidate Greg Greenberg earlier this week. Helian said the group put up $100,000 cash bail on Wednesday that was set by the district court judge Annette Kerm during Brown's arraignment on Tuesday. Yes, what we're seeing here is most likely they need Quantez Brown in a further shooting or some kind of other agenda, because this man being posted up $100,000 bail for attempted murder on a mayor candidate is absolutely ridiculous, and fraud, scams, and lies if I've ever seen it. Moving on from the news to yes, Democrat Rep. Alexandra or something Ortiz says she helped huge amounts of illegal immigrants get stimulus checks. Yes, what we see here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. My mouth is so dry and I'm very tired. But what we see here is that she committed fraud by getting these people checks who did not deserve checks. So, should this woman be apprehended immediately? I believe so. Moving on from the news to yes, if you've made it this far, I didn't want to make it this far with your veteran section MHM News. Moving on from the news to yes, Obama's father identified as CIA asset. The deep CIA penetration of Africa was evident in the agency's apparent recruitment of Barack Obama Sr. Yes, what we're seeing here is it is finally uncovered that this man is a CIA operative. Thus, maybe Barack Obama is not a clone like I may have thought. But we see here that I will get better at reading this article and will do this all again, but wanted to get it out for the morning time. Moving on from the news to yes, in a statement, we finally figured out who the plumber is. DJT put out Clinton's plumber their orders. In a message today, DJT asked who gave orders to Hillary's plumbers. In a post by Q1279, in this post, April of 2019, Q answered Trump's question by putting Barack Obama and Hillary in brackets. R in the post refers to Renegade Obama's Secret Service code name. EG stands for Evergreen, which was Hillary Clinton's code name. It is well known that Obama signed off on surveillance of Trump, which was facilitated by the intelligence community. Moving on from the news. So, when do you call a plumber? Now. And who is the plumber? Rodney Jaffe, aka Tech Executive in Durham Indictment. Yes, this is the plumber of the Clintons, and we see this man will probably be the bird that will be singing the stories. Moving on from the news to oh gosh, we made it. We made it. It is 12:15 at night a.m. That is all for now from the Mental Health Motion News. Mr. Munster and Chabot. Have a good one. God bless you and yours. Holla Chabot. Two fingers. I just want to see something. Couldn't see me the whole time. I could have brought that down. You could have seen my beautiful face. Mwah. Mwah. Da 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 da.